life from start to finish is held together by the golden thread of gratitude. It's really hard for me. So you see it right here. But I've had to learn that past was terrible. It hurt deeply, but I have found the golden thread and I can sew it up. And it's a beautiful thing because life happens for me, not to me. But I had to find it. This is my breakdown and breakthrough.
There are times when life just brings you down, 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 down to the ground. And it's hard when you can't see the light, 'cause things don't look so bright. So now it's time to reframe and retrain your brain. It's time to look for the good. You know that you should. Why don't you join me? I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine. Oh, 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 I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine.
I'm Karaleigh Garrison, a singer-songwriter, motivational speaker, and your host of the Seeking Sunshine podcast, where we find the positive in the trials of life. I created this podcast because I believe really deeply that we can learn from one another's stories and experiences. I'm willing to bet that just about all of us have been through some really, really tough things. And not only is it therapeutic for us to be able to talk about these darkest times in our lives, but the lessons that we've learned and the resilience we've shown can help everyone around us weather their own storms from higher ground. On the Seeking Sunshine podcast, we don't shy away from difficulty and trauma, but we always look for the sunshine in it. It's my personal belief that there are blessings in every trial and trials in every blessing. I use this Seeking Sunshine mantra every single day to change my perspective when things start going wrong and getting frustrating, which they often do because I have 3 kids with special needs. And I can tell you that it has transformed my life. And I hope, and that's the whole point of this podcast, that it can transform your life too. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Seeking Sunshine podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today and spending your time with me. It means so much to me. Today we have such an incredible, fascinating guest. I think you're going to get so much out of this episode. So I'm going to dive right in and tell you all about him. Today we have Carry Michael Howell. He survived childhood trauma and he was a homeless veteran, but he has such an incredible outlook on life. He is such a ray of sunshine. You're going to enjoy his personality so much. So during COVID, he began helping others help themselves with resiliency and motivation through a small coaching business, and his efforts are pointed at breaking down stereotypes of toxic masculinity and narcissism and helping men uncage the goddess within as they balance their emotional energy and frequency. This is such an uplifting and positivity-filled episode. It's going to bring such a smile to your face. I can't wait for you to hear all of the amazing, energy that Carry brings to the world. He's so inspirational. He has so much, it just makes me laugh because he's so much fun. He has so much to bring to the world, and I know that you're going to enjoy hearing from him so much. So I'm going to dive right into this episode. Welcome, Carry. Hi, Carry. Welcome to the Seeking Sunshine podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here. It's a great pleasure.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited to dive into your story. It is really a crazy one. I'm so excited to hear how you've come so far in your life. It's really inspiring and impressive. So let's just dive right in. Why don't you tell us your story?
Okay, let's do that. I feel sometimes it's a little unusual, but we all have a story, and it's important when we meet each other on the street to be kind. We all have a story, man, and I can already feel this one. Wow, so childhood PTSD. I had a really traumatic childhood. My parents died early. My mother, when I was very young, at 7. Um,
Wow, I'm so sorry.
I understand. So you can see how powerful this is. And for anybody that might be tuning in or going to be watching this, psychologists, psychiatrists, they're probably going, "Uh oh, this kid's headed to trouble." So yeah, this is where this is going to go. But I also want you to know, life happens for us, not to us. And I've been able to turn this around into something very, very powerful. And this fire is what's brought me here today to you. So,
Awesome.
yeah, my mother died early, very traumatic. I loved her. And everything that I knew up to that point was very adventurous and very loving and always fun. And my father was beside himself. He was a hard man. He's from the mountain state of West Virginia. He was raised a country boy and was taught, to be hard, and went in the military. So he kind of handed it down to me. But he did take me on a lot of adventures. So that was a part of this that kind of did help craft a very special part of me.
It's kind of the sunshine in all of that.
Absolutely. But to be a good steward of the woods, nature. So I always liked nature. So we would travel. I learned to drive very early. So we started traveling to West Virginia, and I fell in love with it. And it wasn't long. He got sick, and he decided he was going to move back to West Virginia. And I said, "Sure, I'm going with you. I love you. Let's do this." And I fell in love with it, of course. And after he died, my uncle got me.
How old were you when your dad died?
I was 13.
Oh man, that's such
So,
a vulnerable age.
Very, but see, I didn't understand a lot of this, and this is where I guess maybe ignorance in the right context can be useful. But if we willingly choose ignorance, we're harming ourselves, we're harming others, because there's truth that we have to admit, especially to ourselves.
But there's a beauty in childhood ignorance, in that youthful innocence.
That's exactly right. So that's what saved me. I didn't understand. I didn't know. But I had a fire, and it started to well up, and it became, a very powerful source of energy for me. Good at sports. I worked hard on the farm. I could split wood. I did it all. But my father had raised me this way in California. I'm from Los Angeles, well, a small town called Garden Grove. But in the backyard, I would split wood, and we would have little fires. But he taught me things, and this just kept going. So I was a ball of fire, and I made it through high school, and I started kind of running away from home in a way, because the home life was very controlling. That's all I did was work, and on the farm, kind of, all the time. And I had other ambitions, and I needed to expand, I guess. Something was really tumultuous in the head. And he wouldn't allow my aunt to nurture me in the way that I feel like I needed then, and I now know. But he didn't really allow it, because that's the way he was raised. So I've had to do a lot of work with releasing and forgiving, like him. He did the best he could to make me strong, and he did. He wasn't a great mother. He wasn't a real loving father figure. But so this is how the story goes, and it keeps going.
And it's so interesting as we look at our parents and the mistakes that they made, and it's so much kinder on everyone involved when we can just forgive them and recognize that they did their best, because they were raised in a certain way that was very different from what our world is today.
Yes, absolutely. And I know you and me also know that the world was a little different than it is now, and it will continue to change. And that's exactly right. The life, from start to finish, is held together by the golden thread of gratitude, past, present, and future.
Yes, that is a great line. I love that.
So it's really hard for me. So you see it right here. But I've had to learn that past was terrible. It hurt deeply, but I have found the golden thread, and I could sew it up, and it's a beautiful thing, because life happens for me, not to me. But I had to find it. This is my breakdown and breakthrough. I've been going through, at least in the past 90 days. I've had an incredible transformation in the past 90. But we'll stay on topic though.
No worries.
But yeah, so yeah, like you said, it's very traumatic. We don't understand. I was ignorant to a lot of what was going on. I was being molded and crafted by the world and kind of passed along little by little. And I didn't know. The military was good for me. It made me a very good team player. It taught me incredible skills. They were already inside. We all have we all have different skill sets. I have the warrior spirit, and obviously I speak, so I was able to, command and do things. It worked well, but it wasn't working inside. It wasn't helping that. I just learned mechanisms. So you're going to hear this word here again in a little bit. So once things started triggering me, I used mechanisms as a salvation, but they were ignorant mechanisms because they weren't trained. They weren't taught to me. It was, maybe the military, when you're under pressure, you turn everything off. I got no time for that.
Numbness,
and
apathy.
It becomes toxic. And I've had this innate feeling inside to want to really give myself and love, and I didn't know how. And I've struggled with it. So now that I've really kind of...
That's not taught to men. That's not taught to boys. It has not been for generations and generations. And it's just the saddest thing. It is heartbreaking.
It is. Okay, now all the waves, it's starting to crash together for me. So this is the path that I'm on with what I'm doing. Because I speak what I seek until I've seen what I've said. And this needs to change. Our purpose in life, basically, is to love each other, to love ourselves, to love each other as we love ourselves, and love ourselves as we love each other. If we did that, that would reconcile all equations across the board. I promise. But I know we don't live in that world. Like you said, though, men have been crafted. There is some slanderous words going around. There is some defamation of the male character going around, and I am a product of this also. Toxic masculinity, okay, narcissism, and PD, narcissistic personality disorder. I, for instance, exhibited certain narcissistic traits. You could probably see it right now as we talk. Why? Because I have this. I have energy. If it's not controlled, it becomes arrogant. And it's not just charismatic; it becomes arrogant. Because I try not to point at people when you talk to people, but I do when I'm like, let's get fired up. Because I'm talking, I'm casting magic. But when you start talking down to somebody and telling them things, you're casting magic. I promise. I have found power in words.
How much of arrogance, how much of that as a perceived quality has to do with the person who's receiving it not feeling like they have the value? Because if somebody is coming from a place of wholeness, they're not receiving arrogance. They're not taking it personally.
Correct. Absolutely. And this is where, through my self-study and talking to professionals, because I go to therapy, I love it. I'm pushing the boundaries of what I can perceive within myself. But like narcissist is a terminology. It gets thrown around very loosely. It's because it could be like, hey, this guy Billy over here is a real a-hole. That's because he's a narcissist. No, he's exhibiting a trait that's on this objectively negative scale. You can't. It's a personality trait, and if you don't like it, you're already objective about this. So it doesn't work anymore. And I speak from experience because I did use this incredible energy that you see in ways that would keep people backed up. So, but I do see where, like you just said, though, I want to go back to that. That's critical. Men, especially my generation, are the last that were not taught how to be kind and loving. Or I wasn't anyway, but I understand the power of that capacity, and it's the left and right brain. And I've been, dominant left brain. So I'm trying to use these very incredible skills that goddesses like you have, nurturing, loving these incredible pattern recognition skills. I have an A to B attitude. I have logic, math, science. You know what I mean? But if I can couple that with a little bit of slow thinking and say, well, maybe there's more than one way to get to that path, we'll go around the bush. Now, I'll go through the bush. I'll tear it out of the ground. Then I got a hole, and I usually trip and step in it, fall on my face. See, I could have thought like you and went around the bush and still got to the same answer and didn't have to harm or waste energy. So this is where men are failing, and you're failing in relationships because I was. I'll tell you right now, that's exactly why, because you will not bow down to the feminine energy that you are holding inside. It's powerful. This is where I'm going on a mission to uncage the goddess. So I have I'm an entrepreneur, so I have a business model. It's uncage the goddess, and it's inside of me. It's inside of all of us. You obviously display it. You are very feminine, and you should be talked to in a way where I would help balance your masculine energy just enough for you, or be the masculine energy in your life so that we have a balance, because you're my feminine example, right? So
Yeah,
when we communicate.
Yeah, and I love this, and I love that we talked about, because we're taught for so long that that the masculine and feminine energies are separate, that they are distinct, and that men have masculine and women have feminine energy, and it's not true. It's like entirely a lie. All of us contain both, and it's only as we are able to utilize both of them in harmony that we can actually progress in our lives. Because even as a woman, like, we can't just be all emotion all the time. We have to have some degree of logic, and unfortunately women have been taught, oh, if you just act like men all the time, you'll get further. But that doesn't work either. You have to have both. And so I love that we're talking about how men also need to embrace that feminine energy, which has nothing to do with being a girl. It's just that flow. It's the masculine energy is the rigidity and the logic and the structure, which is essential in order to build things. But the feminine energy is the flow and the intuition and the emotion and kindness. And you have to have both. You have to have them working harmony.
You couldn't have put it really any better. We can just chop this up a little bit more and get more details. So let's do that for a minute. So what I'm really learning to understand, through my spirituality, because I do meditation, so I try to work with the chakras. Of course, obviously, maybe my heart chakra is blocked up a little bit. So this is something I work on a lot. Obviously, I have a speech power, so I have a great throat chakra. I'm trying to open my third eye so I can take that in. And that's when we start looking at the idea of what it means to have the Godhead, which is the higher understanding that, something's greater, and then the Christ heart, which is, what really moves my soul. And when those two start talking, right, we start doing inspired action. We start using our words differently. But I started realizing too that it's not just the single pillar of chakras. There is two more, and it's called the chakra, or the balance, the pillar of severity and the pillar of mercy. So it represents the left and the right brain. Men, women being mercy and severity. And this is where, like, you hear Hindus and people talk, and Indians talk about Shiva and Shakti and tantric. A lot of people, it's sex intimately. Yes, you're not wrong, but tantra means to weave.
But there's more to it than that.
There is. And I'll touch on that too, because it's very interesting. Everybody's ears perk up, and it's good. It's a hot button, and I like it because this is real. We live in a magical world, and you just didn't know it, that you could be magical too. I promise. High vibers and deep divers, I'm a teacher.
Oh, it's totally true. Mm-hmm.
But the idea of what tantra means is to weave, and that means the Shiva, which is the destroyer, the male. It just is. The Shakti, which is the goddess, the nurturer, the warmth and the love, and you merge them together to create an all-powerful being. Here we are, and I'm here to tell you that so that you can start learning that. And not just you, Karaleigh. Everyone. But everybody. Once you start to cultivate that inside yourself, you will find it. You need to grab onto that. We are coming into a very important time, and I need you. We all need you. You need you, and somebody special is looking for you. So I'm here to tell you that, because I had to find mine, and when I did, I promise I won't let go, and I will lead the way all the way to the end of this, because this is what we're doing. We're walking each other home. We're just trying to teach each other things, and we're all waking up, and we can see it. You can see it on the news. I don't watch it, but it's in the news. You can hear it in music. You can watch our children, and you watch them are playing out what we're seeing wrong with the world. Here's our time. The time's come. We're going to change it. With this idea of balancing.
Walk each other home. Sorry. I love that line of walk each other home. It's
okay.
Beautiful.
But it is. We're literally, that's why I said it. We're here to make life pleasant for each other. Yes, sometimes I don't get along with Billy, but because I don't get along with Billy, I don't hang out with him. I don't go to the places he hangs out in. I've been to recovery. They teach you things, beautiful things. It happens. Sometimes you have to hit the bottom of the barrel before you want to get up. But you change people, places, and things. I want to quit drinking. I go stop hanging out with Billy at the bar. Basic. So if I want to change my spirituality and become a better person, I cut my hair off. I started working out. I started doing things. I started cutting off old friends. I found that somebody was poisoning the well, and it cost me a relationship about 97 days ago. The greatest thing in my entire life, just because I was letting an external force into my mind help me with a struggle that I was going through that wasn't working out in the end. And once I cut it all off, I still found the answer, and now I've made an incredible change in that. And I'm magnetizing everything right back to me because I have it, and I'm getting it back.
Yeah, I love
So anyway.
it. I've got a fun one for you, which you might not know. My favorite quote comes from Frozen, like the kids movie, where they say, "People make bad choices when they're mad or scared or stressed." And so if you're around people who are making bad choices because they're mad or scared or stressed, yes, we can have compassion for them and we can forgive them. But you also don't have to stay around their negative energy. And then you can also turn that on yourself and go, hey, when am I stressed and taking that out on other people? Am I hurt in some way that I'm letting that affect my energy and my relationships and how I treat people?
Yep, absolutely. And this is why this became, I don't even know how to explain it, but if anybody's out there following astrology, I'll walk you through this. So I was working on a lot of big things. I'm an entrepreneur. I started in scale models in RC cars. I do marketing and sales. This has saved me when I was homeless. So down the story in this line, after I got out of the military, I had a kid. I had a great job. Me and my mom's son split apart, and alcohol came back into the picture.
Because you were stressed and you wanted some way to relieve that pain.
So I caught a DUI. I lost my job. I lost my new girlfriend, and then I lost my housing and my truck. Ended up in a veterans homeless shelter. So we'll just keep going. Fast forward. I found scale modeling. It was a childhood thing that my father gave to me. Building cars, playing with things. It's very creative. I grasped onto it. It saved me, and I took myself out of a homeless shelter. I started moving around, finding jobs. Brought myself back. I lived within just a mile and a half, 2 miles of my son, so I could see him. I got a job that I walked to, so I don't drive. I don't spend any money in gas, everything. And just recently, I've been working on this business coaching with a beautiful woman, a goddess of mine. It was amazing. Marie Martin, if you're out there listening, I love you. So go find her, people. She's amazing. She'll help you.
Awesome.
But tell her I sent you. And 528 Hertz, I'm calling across the universe. I am the one. But I started learning spirituality through her. She's a Reiki master. She's a great energy healer. But my coaching practice and her coaching practice weren't quite the same. As you can see, I was building better people with motivation and resiliency. My fire. She's building better people with love and kindness and light. I'm like Leo. I'm the white lighter to protect the witch. She just hasn't realized it yet because our flames are so tightly together that she thinks it's a single flame. She hasn't seen the truth yet. But I'm not done rebuilding, so I haven't been able to show her. So here we go.
You'll get there.
I was professing and not practicing. So I'm going to let that sit for a second.
That's an amazing line. Like, and
I was professing.
How often is it that we're like, they say practice what you preach, right? And it's like, how often are we reevaluating ourselves?
Yes.
We need to do that a lot more often.
So I was really taking a lot of this stuff from her, learning from her, my spirituality. But I wasn't really doing it. Like, I wasn't learning it for myself. I was learning it to learn something good, and it felt good. I wanted to prove to her I could do it, but it hurt me. What do I mean by that? So I go down that rabbit hole of this trauma, and it would hurt me, and I'll be like, nope, I'm done. Yeah, I'm good. I'm strong. I don't need therapy. I'm strong. I don't need spirituality. I don't need God. I don't, whatever. Because we all need something. But when you find it, you'll know, and it's you, and you're going to be highly aligned with the most powerful self. But the point is, I was just like, oh man, it would hurt, and I didn't want to do it. And she tried, and I resisted. God. Anyway, so finally, when all this was going on at the height of my RC thing I was doing, she came to me and was like, we need to be apart. And that's the day this catalyst started, about like 97 days ago. And I went fully off into the woods with some friends of mine, and my journey began. And I realized that I had that, like the heart valve I wasn't doing, like you were saying, when you start letting that toxicity build up, it starts to project outward. You become unhealthy. Like I can see it in my face now. My color, my eyes, everything that I do is different because of this.
So beautiful to have. Progress is incredible. Like that's the entire purpose of life, isn't it? Is to grow and to become better and to recognize that we are enough as we are, and we are incredible divine beings just as we are, and yet growing is the most beautiful thing we can do, and we have the potential to learn so much and to become so much more, and yet we are still amazing as we are. And that's kind of the fun dichotomy of the world.
Yeah, I think I get fired up, and I'm trying to get everybody to snap out of it. It's like, listen to me, people, you got to shift. Use that mindset. When something's bothering you, snap your fingers. Be like, man, I really hate my job. Shift out of that. Be like, I'm thankful I got money. Something.
Yes, shift to gratitude. Go right to gratitude.
Shift everything to gratitude. Like I won't lie. I work a full-time job at a gas station, because I'm an entrepreneur. But it's just close for me. I'm really trying to rebuild my life over again. But I'm grateful when I clean the bathroom. Why? Because I have found a reason why. So I carry. Is it in my pocket? Yeah. A magic rock. So if anybody's out there listening, you totally need to go find this. The Magic.
Oh my gosh, I have that book. I have that book. I haven't read it yet, but I have that book, actually.
Then you're going to know exactly what this is. You need to read this book. I promise. I've read this like 6 times now. I won't stop reading it.
How fun. I found that book at the thrift store, and I was like, this one calls to me, and so I grabbed it. Yep. So how fun.
It will change your life. It will change your life. I don't know what to tell you.
We should tell people what it's called instead of just showing off. What's that? We should actually say what the name of the book is for everyone who's listening.
It's called The Magic by Rhonda Byrne.
Okay.
It's it's like a sequel, or it's a supplement to The Secret. And The Secret is the manifestor's dream. So I'm into manifestation. This is where the professing and the practicing.
So I need to get The Secret too. I need to get the first book to that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I recommend. I would at least just go to YouTube and start listening to it. I do everything on YouTube or audio because I can gather information faster than I am going to read a book. I promise. So this is what I've learned, and this is what, like I said, I'm going to call her my wife. I'm not going to show anything or do anything like that, but I'm just going to call this woman my wife. She started teaching me, we started learning this together, and she started, really embodying that. And I was just like her cheerleader. I believed in it, but I'm from the visceral world. I'm logical. So I was just really being logical and trying to build a business based on what I knew I could do. I just didn't think I had this capacity that you see now. I didn't believe it. I didn't believe I had it. So here I am now telling you that I've proven myself wrong. Professing, not practicing. But when I got, so when she left, there were some things left behind. And they're clues and hints, I feel, because this has been very strange. So I took this book and I began reading it, and it's changed my entire life. And this is the second day of practice, right there. You'll find a rock, and you'll start thinking about everything you're grateful for at night. When I go to sleep, I hold this rock, and I think of the one most grateful thing of the day, that the highest one, not all of. I go through all of them. Because I'd rather lose counting my blessings than counting my problems, right?
Yes, that's awesome. Well, and I love that the rock is so grounding. It's like, let me bring myself back. It's just a reminder to bring yourself back to reality. And reality is that you're amazing and you have an amazing life. And if you look for the sunshine, like that's what Seeking Sunshine's all about, is looking for those little bits of beauty and the things you can be grateful for in everything. If you look for them, you will find them. That sunshine is always there, and it's what you focus on is what becomes, you know, your reality. So if you focus on the positive things, you focus on the gratitude and the sunshine, you're only going to see more of it.
I can't agree any better. That's exactly right. And this is where I say, you know, you seek what you speak what you seek until you see what you said. I only talk about what I want to see. You know, I want to see good. I want to see winners. I want this. You know, if it's to be, it's up to me. I'm motivated, not manipulated.
Oh, I love it. And that's one of the things I've been learning a lot lately, as because I've been focusing on all the mindset work as well. Is that like when you complain, you're just bringing more of that into your life and into your awareness. And it's like, we feel like venting is such a great thing. And if you need to, like, you know, do your thing, but then come back to the gratitude, come back to the positivity. Don't forget to focus on what's good so that more good can come.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it. Turn it around. And that's one thing I forgot to grab my notebooks because they're away from my desk. But yeah, that little bit of gratitude in everything, bring it back. Try to find, you know, because we do want to vent, and we're allowed to be upset because we're human. It's our ego getting in the way. It really is.
Oh yeah.
Guys, I just wanted to pause here for 1 second to let you know about the awesome thing that I'm doing right now. I am so excited to announce that I'm offering a custom song experience for a small number of people. This is your chance to take your story, your podcast, or your business even, and turn it into a incredible, timeless work that will bring back beautiful, loving emotions for decades to come. This is such a perfect gift for your spouse, for a newborn baby, or for a parent, and it's a really great way to embody your business or your podcast's mission. We're going to meet together several times and deep dive into the message and emotion you want to convey to make sure that you're getting something that you absolutely adore. A custom song is an incredible asset for advertising, for lifting team spirit, and for like encapsulating family memories. If you want a custom song, please email customsongsbykaraleigh@gmail.com.
Yeah, because I just wanted to add to that as to why it's important. But you got a really good quote. There's so many really good quotes in this book. You'll see, I mean, from Willie Nelson to Charles Dickens, and it's about, you know, some of the most powerful or influential people in the world. I mean, the idea of gratitude is a 2,000-year-old mystery, straight out of the Bible. I mean, I'm sure it's even further back than that. And it's just written, at least in this one, you know, theological text that says, he who has or gives will receive more, and he who has none, it shall be taken away. And everybody's like, oh yeah, what is that? You know, it's gratitude, people. I'm going to make it easy.
Don't bury your gifts in the sand. Let the world see them.
Yep. And then there's another one, and this is the manifestor's golden key, and it's for just for the average person. When you put this together, because knowledge is a treasure, using it is the key. I'm giving you the key. It's up to you. But the point is also, when you pray, or when you're asking for things, right? Some of us pray to God. Some of us just give gratitude because we're just manifesting. However it works in your context, you need to pray and ask and believe as if it is already yours.
I love that.
I want this. Oh, I do too. But you're already asking for something you don't already have. Thankful. Let's get grateful. And this is how it works. I am so grateful for that job. Thank you for bringing me that job, because it's going to because I've already said that I already have it. Ask, pray to me as if you have already received. That's what it says in the Bible, and it's just a mystery and nobody understands it. So here to unravel it. Don't waste any more time. Believe
You know
that.
what? You're so spot on, and I've actually seen it in my life. I'm very, very Christian, very very totally, we can praise God all day long. I'm wonderful with that. We spent
Absolutely.
I have 3 kids that are all on the autism spectrum, and one of them is severely autistic, and he was completely entirely nonverbal for 7 years. And when he was 7, we had spent the last, I think, year as a family praying that he would be able to speak one day, that he would get his voice. And there came a point when I gave up, and I was crying, and I did this Facebook Live where I was like, I can't do it anymore. I can't keep hoping that after 7 years of life and intensive therapy, because he didn't even have like a that meant anything. He was entirely, completely nonverbal. And I was like, I can't keep hoping for this. I can't do it. It's so painful to keep praying for this over and over and over again. And my other 2 kids were praying, that he'd be able to speak and we could hear him talk. And when he was 7, he almost died, and he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And he was in the hospital for 3 days, and within a month he could say all of his colors.
Wow.
Here we are 4 years. Yeah. 4 years later, and he never shuts up. And don't get me wrong, he's got communication deficits, and he gets really perseverative on the same thing over and over and over again. And it gets really frustrating because he'll just keep going at it. But it's this insane miracle that we spent praying for a year, and I just didn't quite wait long enough. And I and now looking back, it's always so much easier to see in hindsight those miracles. But why don't we just expect those miracles now, because they're coming. The miracles are on their way. They are coming. So start, being grateful for them now, because they're on their way.
Yeah, exactly. We create our future. This is the tough part for me, where I'm trying to talk to, maybe, let's just say, somebody that's well-to-do. You got a BMW or Cadillac, something nice. I walk. You know what I mean? I buy the cheap toilet paper and Dollar Tree toothbrushes. I get it, but it's so important to understand that we're so close to getting everything that we want, and the motivation behind it is all that matters, and what we're doing with that. Our perception of wealth is what you make of it, but you're really limiting yourself when you start comparing. We just happen to live in a world where that matters. I know, I get it. When somebody drives by with a nice Cadillac, I mean, to somebody that's very soul crushing. And I'm trying to find a way to fix that by finding that peace inside of us that even Voltaire said, if you give appreciation for what other people have, it in respect is yours as well, because you can feel that feeling. Man, when I see somebody's nice vehicle, I'm like, man, that's a nice truck, because I like cars. So when I feel that, I actually have a feeling that I love that car. I don't have any weird jealousy that some people will take that to bed and have like a poison in their heart because it's not theirs.
Oh yeah, and it's so important to find the blessing in what you do already have. So my experience has been, like I said, I've got 3 kids with autism, and then my husband's actually been disabled for the last decade. And he was unable to work, and he would collapse, and he walked with a cane at 30, and it was quite a decade. And now he's doing better, and he's had a job for about 6 months now, and he's finally doing better. But as we looked back on it, it was like, oh my gosh, how could we have ever survived if he'd had a job and been gone? It took both of us to take care of these kids. And because he was disabled and couldn't physically work, he was able to be home with the kids and see his kids grow up, and right. Like how just changing your perspective. And like, yeah, it was a struggle, and we lived in crazy poverty for a very, very long time. And that sucked. Like, there's no lie, poverty sucks. Like, yes. there's no great stuff of that. But when you can find the sunshine within your circumstance, that you are able to shift your perspective and start to build a better life. Like for the very first step is seeing the sunshine, is seeing the beauty in what you already have.
Yep. I still cannot find the one notebook that I'm looking for, but that's okay.
That's
You're
right.
you're on the topic of what it is really about, the sunshine. So I'm famous for saying, I carry my own bucket of silver paint.
That's
I paint
awesome.
my own silver linings. I mean, because that's literally what you're telling me. What do you like? What do you want to do about this kind of ideal? This is the difference in the 3D. I'm gonna give somebody a really advanced level of education real quick, so everybody listen up. You want to hear what everybody's talking about, this 3D, 4D world, right? All right, you're walking around the 3D world all day, every day. You live on it. We sleep on it. It's what we are. So we're on the earth. When it's raining outside and everybody's like, man, it's raining, and they're all pissy about it, I don't care. It doesn't even bother me. Cold doesn't really bother me anymore because it's in here. Because my spirit is 5,000 feet up above those clouds, and I can feel the sunshine. I can close my eyes and feel the sunshine. But that's because my imagination is powerful.
Well, and one thing, sorry, I want to interrupt for 1 second. I would say that like the great thing about the idea of seeking sunshine is that even if it's dark and cloudy outside and all you can see is big, dark, angry, gross clouds, the only reason you can see them is because there's light.
Yep.
If there wasn't light somewhere, you wouldn't be able to even see them.
Exactly. But yeah, just right above those clouds, the sun is shining. It never stops. And that's what some people like. We go outside and we look around, and when we see the sky, it's like a painting. It's like just a painting. It changes. Nobody really understands what is really going on, right? And nobody's really watching what the sun does, what it does. It just goes around the earth. There's a lot more going on than that. So in that 4D world, like I said, when it's raining, it's beautiful because I'm already thinking about what the rain is doing for us. But my spirit, my energetic self is up there with the sun, soaking it up and bringing it back to the physical body that I have to walk around in the 3D world in. Because the reality of it is, we're not just standing on our planet. The planet is out there flying around the sun. So you got to step away from the picture a little bit, people, and really look through the great eye of what is really going on.
It's amazing how much perspective can change everything for us and change our entire day and our entire lives when we get bogged down in all the minute details of everything that's going wrong and this sucks and this isn't going the way I want to do it. If we just step back, take a step back, and you could see your life from further away, from that bigger perspective, and see how beautiful it is, see how amazing.
It's hard though sometimes because we want to take such great pride in what we think we know. Our knowledge, our level of intelligence. Intellect isn't intelligence. Real intelligence is balancing the male and the female brain. That's real holistic spirituality intelligence.
That's a beautiful line.
Intellect is a man's world, which only means, it doesn't mean anything, trust me. It's an Italian word or a Latin word. But for men, we're intellectual. We have an intellect. It doesn't mean shit, sorry. But only what it means is I have logic. I can do these things. But if you really want to be intelligent, you want to be real and show intelligence, you learn to do things like a woman and think kindly about how to get the job done for all of us in the most timely manner without collateral damage. That's real intelligence. But we're not really teaching each other that it's okay to be like that. Be like, oh, everybody wants to, I see it all day long at work. Guys that have that masculinity complex where they rule over their wife. And I see where the women are, in this area or in our culture nowadays where some just are very blind to their power. It's
so
crazy.
True. So true. So as we get to the end of this, I want to ask you about one of the most inspiring things I think of your story is that you pulled yourself out of homelessness and you're able to have this really incredible positive attitude even when things are hard and they are not going well. So talk to us about how you got yourself out of homelessness and how you were able to shift your mindset and grow from that experience and find the sunshine.
Right. It was my determination, because I felt inside that I had a purpose, and it wasn't doing this, but it was the radical realization of what had happened that took me there and put me in that situation. And then I started just taking the steps to get out of it. I was in a small program for 6 months at least to start, and it was a matter of going to the hospital, going to therapies, taking medication, and then like extracurricular activities, going to Narcotics Anonymous, NA for some people, or AA, which is Alcoholics Anonymous, and go into recovery and trying to get involved in the community. So that's what I did. But I'm creative, so I started really putting forward an effort to do what I was working on, which was art projects. Like I started building models. I saved enough money to buy one, and I started going to the hospital, the Veterans Hospital, and building it up there with those guys. And it started getting bigger. So I started a group kind of thing. And then the shelter that I lived in, there was this door, and it faced the east side of the building. And so when the sun came up, it would just light this window up. So I painted it. It was amazing.
That's so beautiful too.
Things with my creativity and my motivation, and it kept my fire going. So I didn't fall into that trap of other people, other energy pulling you down. It's how this works. It's like, when we find that we've got toxic friends, and you're like, oh, I've got to cut this guy off. I've got to do this. That's what it felt like. But you have to stay motivated and find the sunshine. It's like, what am I going to do after this? And what is it going to do after this? So the first job opportunity out of the gate was a volunteer job for like a Methodist camp for boys and girls at the southern part of the state, where it's beautiful. But I've only got certain skills. Like, what does a homeless guy do at a church camp? Well, I taught how to use the bows, arrows on the range, obviously, and I would do horseback riding because I know how to ride horses, and I built fires and taught basic survival skills, how to build a fire.
And those are awesome skills that those kids need to learn. Like, don't undervalue your skills there.
Oh, no. But I guess you're right. They are very, very, very valuable skills. But that's what it was for, to really try to get used to being around other people and learn to soften up. And I don't have to wear a mask and show everybody, just how hard or whatever I am, just so they'll be scared enough to leave me alone and not get too emotionally involved. That was my game. I just wouldn't let anybody get too close or emotionally involved with triggers and the mechanisms that would keep people away, which is probably my speech, other than my brooding negative attitude because I was angry or upset and depressed about life, like it was happening to me. Things were going badly. I just had bad influences in my life that were poisoning my mind and my body.
Yeah, I love that. What really got you to keep moving on when things got really hard was that you found what lit you up, and you did it. You did those beautiful, artistic, creative things that really feed the soul. And from there, it just grows and builds and grows. And it's so therapeutic and it's so beautiful to do those things. And that's something that's really universal, that everyone can learn from that. When you're feeling stuck, when you're feeling trapped in whatever life you're living, do something that lights you up. Go paint a picture. Yes. Go sing a song. Go do something. Go build something. Go make something. Because showing yourself that you have the power to make something amazing is so incredible for your self-esteem and for helping you build that positive mindset, and that beautiful creative energy is so healing.
Yep. So for a couple of years, I've been writing on a book that I've been wanting to write, and it's about how to be a father when you don't have a father. So I titled it "The Fatherless Father: Modern Man's Field Guide." Because these are basic things that we need to learn for ourselves so that we can be better fathers. But this is really geared to the father-son aspect. But it transcends gender, because it's just a matter of giving back the best of everything that I've learned and really encouraging and making a safe space for them to do so. And now I've been working on another one. I haven't given it a real good title yet, but it's the Poor Alchemist Cookbook. And same thing. It's just a modern guide to how to bring magic back into your life through believing in yourself and spirituality, which is believing in ourselves. I don't know how to make that any more clear, but I know it gets confusing to people, and they're just like, but that's okay. We all need whatever it is we're doing, and you can say I'm right, you can say I'm wrong. It doesn't matter. We're all right and wrong, and it's okay. When your truth comes, it'll come. And when it does, I want it to light you on fire like it has me and Karaleigh. We believe and we know we're all speaking the same language. We just understand it a little bit differently. It doesn't matter because the truth of it all is just love. If we're not just giving and receiving love, you're wrong. Start from there. Until you can get that step right, you got to crawl.
And it's what would happen if everything you did was motivated by love? How
it would be amazing.
Change. Not just the question.
Right. And I can answer a little bit of that, and I'm sure you can too, because when you put it out, you get it in return. And it happens. I give the best of what I have when I'm at work to strangers sometimes. And when I feel even at my lowest, I really don't want to, is when I dig deeper and give it, and it always comes back. So, I sell a lottery ticket to somebody and they win a couple bucks. I get paid. People pay me. And I have conversation with great people. I make amazing friends and allies. I've got opportunities, new jobs coming. And it's all because you're paying out, you're giving instead of trying to receive. So here's 3 tips. I'll give everybody 2. 3 things you need to stop immediately if you want to start manifesting and change your life. 1, stop talking trash about other people. Nobody cares.
And
except
yourself.
You.
And yourself. Don't talk trash about yourself either.
Exactly. Don't talk trash about yourself or other people, because like you said, as soon as you say something negative, it comes to be. If you say, oh, my idea is stupid, you just told yourself it's stupid. Your subconscious is the most powerful tool on this planet. And I have more tips before we get to the end of this on how I can break your subconscious a little bit and start tuning up your vibe. But yeah, number 2, stop talking about your problem. Talk about solutions. People that talk and complain about the problem, there's a reason. I see it all day long. Here comes, old Betty. She comes in and she's upset. I'm like, hey, how's it going, Betty? She's like, oh, I hate life. Do you really? Oh, it's just terrible. I'm like, why? I mean, you shouldn't. I love my life. She's like, I don't have nothing. That's why, because that's all she says. And number 3, stop concentrating on the result. Just pay it forward, invest in yourself, invest in the future, and just believe in it. Let it go.
Enjoy the journey.
Just give it away. Enjoy the journey. Stop and smell the roses. And because you can't be in 2 places at once. You have to make a decision.
Well, and we often forget that, like, today, this day right now here, this is your actual life. Like today.
Yes.
So like enjoy it. Be here. Don't be, if you were to die tomorrow, would you look back on your life today and be like, that was a great day? Let it be great. Let it feel great. You can choose to feel great. It's a choice.
Yep. That's the power of the I am affirmation. I am magnetic. I am a co-creator. I am living my life to my highest ability and looking for more opportunities to increase. You have to. I put it everywhere. But I get up in the morning. First thing I do when I wake up, I'm like hands up, because good things are coming our way, because love and happiness are in my life to stay. I get up. I instantly make my bed. I do pull-ups now, so I do 10 pull-ups, and I come downstairs and I start writing in a gratitude journal. 3, you'll find that in that book. Start reading that book. It'll change your life. And real quickly, I'm thankful for my job because it gives me money. I'm thankful for my cats. They keep me entertained. I'm thankful for my strained relationship, because now I have the opportunity to learn and grow and make it stronger. And at the end, I read them all back and I say, thank you, thank you, thank you. I close it up, put it away. I'm done. Every day.
Awesome. That's awesome. And yeah, a gratitude practice is like so essential, and it really will. It will change your entire life. So back to your book, has that one come out yet? Your first book?
No, I'm still.
Okay.
I mean,
So
I was
we'll look
homeless.
for it. We'll keep it
I
in our
hope,
minds to
hopefully,
look for it.
because that's what I'm trying to manifest. Because it was just a matter of finding the right people, because I don't know what I'm doing. I know how to build things with my hands, and it's been a 7-year build process from homeless to now to get here, and it's 222. I love you, people. Thank you, Karaleigh, for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, sorry, how can we find you? How can we find your on
Oh,
the internet and
totally.
all the things that you're doing?
You can find me on TikTok at Always Your Rescue, or it'll be under Carry Michael Howell. On Facebook too, I'm Carry Michael Howell. But on Facebook, I have a very large scale model group going, and it's called the Kit Bash Gundam. It's a public group, but I'm the model Rocketeer on Facebook also. So across all social media, you can find the model Rocketeer. I had taken a break on that because it felt childish for a moment, because like I said, I just went through a breakup, a separation for a moment, and I started to take it out on my hobby, which is, I think, very ignorant now because I didn't understand. So I got upset, and I was doing really good things, and I felt like maybe she got jealous. I don't think so. I think maybe I got lost and too childish. I don't think so. I was doing good things. I took a break, but that's what I do. So this is my superpower. This is what brings children and families together into this interactive environment of building scale models and stuff like that. So totally find me up on social media under the model Rocketeer.
Well, and I gotta
But
say, I really think that we would all do better to be more like children, to
yes,
be more free with ourselves and more vulnerable and more open to exploring what we like, because we're so afraid to do things that we enjoy because it's too childish, and it's not mature
it
enough.
is.
But we should just do those things because they light us up, and we're worthy of doing things that light us up.
Yes, I said I found my notebook finally, and I didn't mean like to cut you off, as in it was 222. It was just I happened to see the time, and it was just better 222. But yeah, this is you, like you said. I just totally lost my train of thought. What were you were just saying about
we would do better to be more like children and to explore our
like
passions
children?
freely.
Yes, and that's where when I said I found my notebook. Yes, exactly. If you find your passion, so this is where my artist's heart has started to speak. Because I've always played with toys, but when I started to look across the spectrum of art, which is just a small part of it, I can paint, I can do all kinds of crafting, and I was like, man, this is really important. I see we're unleashing that creativity, and this is really, really a part of the Poor Alchemist cookbook that I'm writing. And it's just very basic ways we can use our body, our mind. It's cost effective, it's free, to really change our life and make ourselves healthy. And that's what it is. To find something you like and embody it. Go find it and do it and get active and be proud of that. I like model trains and toys. Yes, to some people that's really whatever. Other guys like beer. Some guys like whatever. It doesn't matter. We all have one. And this is where that when you start looking around your support system, your people around you, if you're not getting supported right, you know what I mean, you should start really consider changing your circle.
Yep.
Or maybe try to convert your friends because you see them doing bad. Only for the highest good, never for your own intent. For your own gain. But if they can't be, maybe you should consider new friends. Go find some new friends. Find some new sunshine. Bring some sunshine yourself to some new situation. Be an example, because we lead by example.
And I think it's important to consider, like, how are we supporting the people around us? Are we, just because you don't have the same interest doesn't mean you can't support that person in their interest. And so how are we saying things that could be construed as criticism or could hurt someone's feelings and keep them from pursuing their passions? Like, how are we coming across? It's important to consider that.
Yep. And I think I was failing at that, coming across by encouraging somebody else's passion and being thoughtful and listening, and then maybe even trying to share mine, which maybe were overbearing in a way because I thought it was so exciting. So I didn't know quite how to balance that. So it's like you said, it's important to understand that it's communication. I didn't understand how important this was I mean, I did from an aspect is like, are you going to live or die? Because I could handle everything else in between. But when it came to speaking to, the woman I love, and I wasn't communicating everything I should have been because I was afraid. I was afraid of hurting myself, obviously, with letting it out. But I also was afraid that I have been known to not think fast enough or think long enough and speak and be harmful with honesty. I'm a SAG. I speak honesty. So I have to really take my time, to speak. So I've learned that it might be really, really anxious a feeling, but it's a good feeling when I can hold somebody's hand and look them in the eye and think deeply before speaking. Maybe they can read my thoughts.
Yes.
But say it as
They can read
kindly
your
as possible.
energy.
So maybe that's the most important thing for me. Instead of speaking, I should just, try to present that to a significant other, because I am a fireball, and it's just how I was specially crafted to get us through this. Because now we're coming to a point in time where somebody needs to be the example. I'm not the only one, but I'm going to be left field enough where we're collecting the lost sheep. I was a lost sheep too, so I'm just helping. Well, and there's going to be more, because there are some prophets, and there are some amazing speakers and what I would call gurus or disciples that come completely covered with tattoos and full of drugs. I'm sorry, it's a truth.
This is true. It's
the world we live in. It's the world we live in. Like when you go to a I like fairs and festivals. I'm not into drugs. I don't do all that crazy stuff. But that's the modern hippie. But we live in an age where it's all technology and it's whatever. So there's still hippies out there, man. There are gypsies. There are witches and warlocks, and still living and embodying that spirit of ancient still, and they're being told like we're coming to a point where our power is being shown. The veil is being pulled back. The age of Aquarius has arrived.
Well, don't ever lose your energy. Your energy is amazing and beautiful, and it will totally change the world.
I hope so. This is our goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's been a joy to talk to you. I have loved having you on here on the Seeking Sunshine podcast.
Good. Maybe we can do this again if I get an invite. I would like to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go searching for certain topics that you really want to hammer out, and I'll bring you my side of it as to what we can do and supplement your talk on whatever you want to.
Absolutely. I will let you know. I'd love to do this again. This has been amazing. I hope you have an incredible day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Carrie, for coming on to the Seeking Sunshine podcast. It was a joy to hear from you and a joy to talk with you. And I know that you're going to go so far in this world. You have such a light. And it was incredible to get to spend time with him. So here are my very favorite takeaways. Number 1, life happens for us, not to us. Number 2, life from start to finish is held together by the golden thread of gratitude. I think I need to put that on my wall. That one is such a stunning quote. I need to have it where I can see it every single day. Number 3, progress is incredible. It's the entire purpose of life, to grow and become better and recognize that we are enough as we are. We are incredible divine beings just as we are, and yet growing is the most beautiful thing we can do. Number 4, you speak what you see until you see what you said. Number 5, it's so important to find the blessing in what you do already have. Number 6, I carry my own bucket of silver paint. I paint my own silver lining. Number 7, when you're feeling stuck, when you're feeling trapped in whatever life you're living, go do something that lights you up. And number 8, today, this day is your actual life. Enjoy it. I enjoyed this episode so much, and if you enjoyed it too, please go share it with somebody. I know that there is someone who needs this kind of positivity in their life that you know and that you could share this with. You can also share it on your social media somewhere. I really enjoyed all of the sunshine that is to be found in Carrie's words here. So if you enjoyed hearing from him, you can also follow him on TikTok at Always Your Rescue or at Carry Michael Howell. You can also find him on Facebook at Carry Michael Howell or The Model Rocketeer on all social media platforms. Also, make sure you go visit my website, CaraleigHgarrison.com, which I just recently updated. And through my website, you make sure that you go check out my new album, which is called Seeking Sunshine, which I know is the same name as my podcast. And I've spent years working on this album, and it's so much fun, and it's the culmination of a lot of work for me, and it means just so much. So I would love it if you would go check that out. You can, there's a link to go purchase it through my website, but you can also stream it on SoundCloud and on Spotify. It's actually not on Apple because there was a mess up, so that's a bummer, but it's on YouTube Music and Spotify and like Pandora, and it's like on every other major platform except for not Apple, which is a huge bummer, but that's all right. They're going to fix it really soon. I just know it. I'm just waiting for them to get back to me. It was like a little error in the whole system. And then don't forget that you can reach out about a custom song by emailing me at customsongsbykaraleigh@gmail.com. And again, all of this information is in the show notes. And then I'm going to leave you with a song that I actually had Carrie pick out himself, and which I think is so much fun because he got to pick the one that he got to pick a song from my album that he thought best kind of represented him, which I've never done before, but I had this idea as I was thinking about this episode and I was thinking about his interview, and I was like, I don't know which song to pick for him, because I usually try to pick a song that like goes with the energy of the album, and he just has such a fun energy and he kind of fits so many different songs that I decided to ask him, and he picked such a great song. He picked I Keep Fighting, which just fits him so well, and so that's the song that I'm gonna play next. So I hope you enjoy it. Have an amazing day, and don't forget how awesome you are and how loved you are. I feel like we all need to hear that sometimes because we forget it a lot. You're awesome. You're incredible. And you're exactly where you need to be. Like you're like right now, the things that are going on are all working together for your benefit. Even the things that feel like they're going wrong, eventually you're going to be able to see how they were all put in place for you to just rise. So that's my little message for you. Have an amazing day.
I was 5. They said there was a fire in my eyes. And I fought to keep my deepest dreams alive.